What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. NBS Talk Nelson.
At NBS, we believe in banking for life. For over 160 years, we've been a trusted banking provider for generations of locals like you. We know our clients personally and build long-term relationships with them, offering flexibility by giving our staff freedom to make quick decisions to put them first. Experience banking for life with NBS.
The Mako Rugby Roundup.
Welcome to the Mako Rugby Roundup. I'm Chris Butler and welcome back to Les Edwards. Nice to see you here, mate. Got the full colours on.
Yes, pointy end of the season, so lots to talk
It's
about.
a big week coming up, so it's going to be a lot of work, so all hands on deck, that's for sure. We'll thrilled to bring you all things rugby in the top of the South, but before we dive in, we want to give a big shout out to our venue sponsor, the Turf Hotel, Main Road, Stoke. Check out their Facebook page for everything that's on this weekend, including that magnificent meat raffle on Sunday. Thank you for their continued support. In this episode, we're going to be covering international rugby, and then it's really a big focus on the Mako season so far and a big week ahead. We're very pleased to welcome Mako 217. It's flanker Tim Sale. Welcome, mate. Nice to have you here.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Bit of a shiner.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it was just a small ding, but
Just putting the head in the wrong place at the wrong time.
yeah,
Is that,
sounds about right.
so Napier born, is that right?
Yeah.
But you pretty much grew up in Auckland. So what age did you end up moving from Napier to Auckland?
I moved up pretty early on, like when I was a baby still. So
Right.
got lots of family still in Napier, but don't know it too well, to be fair.
Yeah, sure. Fair enough. And so into the world of Auckland. So what part of Auckland did you mainly hang out in?
Pretty central, like off the back of One Tree Hill. Went to Auckland Grammer. So really enjoyed that.
Geez, that's pretty steeped in rugby history, isn't it? So can you tell us about your introduction to rugby? Was it an early age and it was always going to be rugby, or did you sort of come in later in the piece?
Kind of just massive sporting family, to be fair. Dad coached cricket, which was the reason why we moved up to Auckland. He coached the Auckland side.
Right.
And we loved all sports, lots of backyard cricket, soccer, and then just me being a little bit bigger than my brothers, always try to turn it into rugby, really.
Oh,
But
push him out the way.
I think when I was a young fella, before you could play tackle, I wasn't too interested in rugby, and then once you were 8 and allowed to tackle, I was pretty keen.
You like the physical side of the game.
You like that,
Yeah.
Your dad, what's his name?
Tony.
So Tony Sale, he was a cricket coach. Did you play the game yourself?
Yeah, I played at high school. Well, all the way up through high school. All my brothers played. I think Dad just didn't really want to push us into it too much. But enjoyed it. Wasn't that flash, to be fair. So probably took the rugby route.
And so ended up with Auckland Grammer. So, did you manage to have a bit of a, run with rugby in the college? And
I played hooker mostly at high school.
right.
I didn't make the first 15 until my final year, where I was like trying to start playing a bit more on the side of the scrum. Was bouncing between hooker and flanker in my final year playing first 15, so that was good fun.
Can you remember that year, and how did Grammer go that year?
We struggled, to be fair. Like all the way through watching the first 15, the boys made the final, I think, every year.
Yes.
And then when I got a crack, we weren't too flash, to be fair, but absolutely loved it. It was an awesome school and had heaps of fun playing, to be fair.
Well, we're going to dive in deeper later on in the podcast about your background and your rugby career so far. But first of all, let's talk internationals, Les, and I'm really keen to talk about Argentina versus South Africa. A bit of an update, Tim. We had to do picks last week, and Macca and Les picked South Africa. So that left me to back Argentina. And what happens?
You're going good, mate.
You're going well.
Yeah.
Top of the pot.
29-28. And I wasn't too far off on Australia, although no, I did back the All Blacks, but we'll come back to that. So let's talk about that game. Did you happen to catch the highlights or any of the Argentina versus South Africa?
Yeah, I didn't see much of it, to be fair. I saw that South Africa named a slightly different side to who played the All Blacks. But yeah, I was surprised that Argentina got up, to be fair.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on it, Les?
Oh, look, a missed penalty by South Africa at the end by
Yes.
Manny Libok.
Yeah.
That could have sewn up the rugby championship for South Africa. Not to be, which is a great thing.
Yes.
Anytime Argentina get a win, you've got to celebrate it. So, they go now to Nelspruit to play the decider for the rugby championship. So, I was impressed with Argentina. I thought that, Russie would have got out of this what he wanted, which is to leave 10 players at home, get more experience for his wider squad. He is building a super squad, going forward. And you know what he's got his mind on. It's 2027 and he's going to have a super squad for it.
I did wonder whether or not, Argentina with their forward pack would put up a good fight against South Africa, and they certainly did. I didn't, see the whole game. I just saw, actually, I watched the end of the second half, and that was pretty exciting. And now he missed that kick. I don't know. Russie was standing up out of his chair, and he was still disappointed to lose that game, even though everything's in his favour. But what a great win! And of course, now it's not a walk in the park. Yes, they will meet the full squad of South Africa and on their home turf and full force. But I don't think Argentina's going to shy away. They're playing good rugby at the moment, aren't they?
Yes, they've had 3 very, very good wins against all 3 teams, opposition teams in the championship, and they will back themselves to get a win away. That said, Russie's made an interesting decision. And I think it's about his man management. So he's got a first 5, a replacement player he picked who misses the kick to win the test. Does he boot him in the bum and no? He picks him to start at 10 and continue with the responsibilities of kicking for goals. So that's sort of an interesting insight into how Russie backs his men.
Yeah.
And says, hey, that was just an aberration. Let's get on with it.
Okay. Well, quick pick. So the decider, who's going to pick it up?
Yeah, I'd have to go South Africa.
You'd have to, yeah.
Yeah, and so would I, Chris, which leaves you...
Well, okay. Look, I'll go to true form. I'll pick Argentina because, someone's got to back him. I've got to give a shout out to Furman at Speedy Science Nelson because he'll be up for that game for sure.
Yes.
And I know a couple of South Africans, and instead of having a go at me, I've pointed it in his direction because it's between those two now. It's going to be an interesting match. But obviously, there was a big one in Sydney. Australia versus New Zealand, Australia 31, Australia 28. And geez, we just started off with a hiss and roar, which we've all been looking for and absolutely stomped it. And interestingly enough, I was talking to my partner about, this will be potentially like the game of the century. What if Australia stormed back? Look what happens in the second half. I mean, Tim, did you watch the whole game or just the highlights? And what were your thoughts on the game?
The boys were all most of us were crammed into one of the rooms on Saturday night before the game, watching it.
Yeah.
It was good. The first half, the boys were all stuck in, enjoying it, and then kind of probably not watching it as closely and saw that Aussie just started to come back. So now it was wicked, I thought.
Yeah. It was a great game. Les, what were your thoughts? What happened?
I just loved the start, 14-0, 21-7. Things were looking great. And some of the rugby was sublime, actually. A fair bit of bagging of DMAC, excuse me, but I think some of his touches in that first half were outstanding. Will Jordan looked good at fullback, and the forwards were doing their job. Somehow, here's what I think. I think that at some point they should have gone, right, we've got this test won. At 21-7, we've done the job, right? The Fizz has got the lead. Now let's play a bit more conservatively. Let's start kicking for territory. Let's start kicking for space. And we didn't. We just kept on trying to go at 100 miles an hour, and it came unstuck.
And also, Joe Smith said after the game there were a couple of set piece moves with the back line, so they started finding some opportunities, and one or two things that they'd been working off come off for them. So that's why I keep on saying just keep an eye on them, because it's like making all those mistakes and having big losses until all of a sudden it clicks. They keep talking about that. However, I just wondered whether psychologically you're thinking, well, we're pretty ahead now. Do we have to really work that hard? And I don't know, Tim, when you've got a big lead on a team, is that sometimes difficult when a team starts getting back into the game and things aren't going right?
Yeah, I think you're always looking to put the foot on the throat, but as Les said, like, probably you keep trying to attack and throw the ball around and get a bit loose sometimes, then it can bite you up a little bit. But Aussie turned it around, I thought, to be fair. They started playing some really good rugby in the second half,
And it just goes to show there's one or two players in there, especially the fullback. He's a class act. And, so it's going to be interesting. And of course, we now go into Wellington, where we haven't won since, when was it, Les?
6 years since they've had a win in Wellington, which is an aberration.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Where'd that come from? But that goes to show.
I thought about that, and I thought, how do you break the hoodoo? And I thought, show them Bernie's corner, and show them some footage of Stu Wilson and Bernie, carving it up at Athletic Park, and that might get rid of the ghost. So, a team announced today. Les, any surprises there for you?
No, not really. I'm disappointed with the fact that, again, Satiti doesn't get an opportunity at 8, and Savir at 7. Congratulations to Sam Cane. I think 100 tests is a great honour for him. Like him or don't like him as a captain, he's been a great servant for us. And, there's none tougher in the flanker position. Right, Tim?
Yeah, I'm a huge Sam Cane fan, to be fair. I think he'll go really good, and he's played really well over the last few games and kind of shown that he's probably still the best 7, I think.
Yeah, I think it's his toughness and, his jackling. He's an uncompromising forward, and he has been good for them. But at some point, he won't be around. This is his last home international. So, I'll have to wait for Severe to go to 7 and Satiti to 8, because that's the same back row has been selected.
Yeah.
David Havili, our mate Davey, gets a run off the bench in number 23, and I think that's exceptionally good, because he's so multi-talented in every backline position, bar halfback. But that's a good choice. D-Mac to come on in the second half. That's the big thing.
Why do you? I mean, there was a lot of discussion how, and I thought a lot of the criticism was unjustified with Mackenzie, because he showed that when he sees half a gap, he can go. However, I guess the discussion is that more lateral role as opposed to someone. So is that what they're looking for, a bit more control?
Oh, but look, there's a couple of things. They've started him for 8 tests. Now for the 9th, they've put him on the bench. Is that because, in fact, he's played 8 test matches this year, and a bit of a break will do him the world of good? Or have they picked Bowden Barrett at 10 to be a bit more north-south in the way we play the game? So, yeah, I don't know.
TJ gets the gig at halfback.
He does, and that's again a way of thanking a bloke for a lot of service to the All Black jersey, because it's being played in Wellington, and it's also his last test on home soil. So,
and no Billy Proctor.
Annoys me, but we'll have to wait
until they give him a run. I mean, you're not going to lose a lot by putting him on the bench, are you?
Yeah, well, that would have been at Davies' expense.
Yeah.
So, right, Tim? So in a way,
that's true. That's true.
But I think you could have picked him at 13 and Ione on the wing. That could have been there, but he's just going to have to bide his time. I still love him. I think as a genuine 13, look forward to him one day getting a start.
You played against him against that Ranfurly Shield match in Blenheim. Obviously, no trouble for you guys, but what do you think of Billy Proctor?
Yeah, I reckon he's pretty wicked. He's a good player. I was going to say, though, I thought Davey outplayed him in that game. So
there you go.
Maybe that was the difference.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe they've seen that in training. Yeah. And Now, two things. There was no mention of Blackadder on the injury list, but presumably he's still getting over the hamstring. But it's like he's disappeared. There was no mention of him still injured.
No,
So that's interesting.
He's just not been picked. I've gone with Jacobson off the bench.
Who, to be fair, has played well coming off the bench, hasn't
Concrete shoulders.
Yeah.
Have you ever played against him? Have you been tackled by Luke Jacobson?
No, I don't think so.
Bloody hell,
Yeah,
I reckon.
maybe I'd remember, yeah.
You would.
And is it, and I haven't noticed, I haven't read anything, but Papali'i's disappeared. So what's happened there?
Oh,
is that injury? Is that?
I think he's just not the 7 they're looking for at the moment.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
he's holding tackle bags.
So are you happy with the lineup? It's really a bit of a goodbye to some players that have been playing well for the All Blacks over the last few years, isn't it, on their home patch?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I like Bodie back at 10, but yeah, I think when the All Blacks don't go as well as people want them to, the 10 tends to cop it a little bit. So that's at D-Mac's expense. But yeah, I reckon it'll be a wicked test, and I think the All Blacks will get up big.
Yeah, and Patrick Tuipulotu on the bench for Sam Darry. So
yeah,
another big man to come on at the last 20. And the interesting thing will be at the 60-minute mark thereafter, will the All Blacks score any points?
Right. There must be a focus on that. I mean, that's a hoodoo too, isn't it? 2 hoodoos to get over. Okay, so and some other interesting matches to watch out: the Black Ferns versus Ireland. That's going to be another big game. 3 p.m. In Vancouver.
Yeah, so the return of WXV, and they're in the first division. So, it'll be a good contest for the ladies. And of course, we have our own Janelle Strickland over there managing the team. So, shout out to her. I don't know how the game will go, but we'll back the Black Ferns.
Yeah, well, they played all right against England. Apart from they had a good start and there were some signs. I just don't think they've had the prep. I think England's had a better run up, and they get another crack at England in Vancouver. So, but Ireland won't be an easy beat either. So, interesting to see how they go. All right, let's talk about another heartbreak. I don't know what you're doing to us. But Tasman 27, Waikato 25 in Hamilton. It was almost an exact replica of beating Hawke's Bay for the Ranfurly Shield, wasn't it? Right down to the wire. So what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it was close, wasn't it? We gave them a 12-0 head start, and probably wasn't our best footy of the year, but managed to scrape a win, which has actually set us up really well for this week. But yeah, probably not ideal for the fans.
It was fine when the kick went over. Just
and it only went, and that's right. And then he got cramped, didn't he? Well, he got cramped. But
was the 1 o'clock start odd for you guys as the visiting team? Did everything have to come forward an hour or so?
Yeah, a little bit. I think. Oh, it is what it is. Like, the boys do the best they can to prep regardless. But yeah, a little bit different.
Well, it's, like 12-0 down at kickoff on a normal game time.
Oh, it's probably not a fair excuse. But yeah, it's a little bit earlier than normal, but same for them. So,
well, look, to my way of thinking, and I was nervous as you went off to play this game, because it had that feeling that it could be a banana skin game for us, because there were some key players that had to be rested, because we're going to talk about it, very torrid week coming up. And yeah, there was just that chance that possibly Waikato could turf us up at home, because they've been very good against Hawke's Bay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. And they're on their home patch, aren't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. I thought it was one of the grittiest, gutsiest performances by a Tasman side I've seen. I just thought you guys, in the end, got into your work. Great that Ryan Coxon scored a try in his Blazer game, and that was the start of the fight back. Yeah. So, yeah, did you just feel very proud of that whole performance, and did it feel like you had to be, in the trenches to win it?
Yeah, for sure. As I said, like a tough start, and we were on the back foot a bit. We spoke about at halftime, like we probably just didn't come out with the intent that we needed to. got beaten up at the breakdown a little bit. So yeah, at halftime, we're pretty keen to get back out there and turn it around a bit.
Yeah, but then Waikato scored next.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what was the conversation behind the posts?
I think like even in the first half, we felt like they had complete dominance. Yet I think we're down by 2 points at halftime. So like we knew, that regardless, like if they went up by a few more points, that would stay in it and keep fighting. So we weren't too worried about the scoreboard. We just needed to start dominating a bit more at the breakdown and physically, which we hadn't been doing.
And which you then began doing. Antonio
right.
Shalfoon, yourself, Sione Havili, Charlie Tui had an amazing game at number 8. Yeah, I thought the forward pack really did pick it up, and then that meant that you scored 14 points to win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then interesting, Willie Havili, he went for a drop goal fairly close to in front with a minute or two to go, and you think, is that the last chance? But again,
I know.
Again, they get themselves.
Well, that's what I thought. It's, the game's over, and all of a sudden they're back down there another penalty. So it was
very brave call by the referee, by the
way.
in Hamilton. So no, it was good. And then Willie, who'd been cramping up a bit prior to that. Yeah, screamed as he
shanked it.
Did you hear him?
Yeah, he wasn't too happy with how he hit it. I don't think. I think the crowd thought that it was missing. We all thought it was missing, and then it's the flags have gone up, so we were stoked.
Yeah,
and then they were trying to jump on him, but he was trying to get the cramp out of his leg.
That's right. Leave me alone.
So great one.
A famous victory.
Yeah, and the thing is, if even in those tough battles, when things aren't quite going your way, if you still getting the wins out, that's the sign of a team that's doing pretty well at the moment. So, but it's a tough week coming up, and Saturday, 1:05, Mako sitting second only on game in hand. I think that's the reason why. Away to Otago. So Otago had a fantastic start of the season. They were really competitive, but they have fallen off the wagon a bit. But you're playing them away, and it is in Otago, and those boys hit hard, don't they? So going to be a tough match. And the team has just been announced, and you got a tough week coming up. So tell us about preparation leading into this week. Tell us about the squad going to Otago, and then of course, that's with one eye against Auckland, 2nd of October.
Obviously some an opportunity for a lot of the boys this week to go down to Otago, a lot of debuts and milestone games and stuff like that. But yeah, no doubt about it, we're going down to win. But of course, like with a few of the boys being dinged up in that and the Ranfurly Shield game being on Wednesday, the coaches have rested some of the senior boys and given those other lads an opportunity.
Yeah. But I mean, traditionally the Marco's our depth has been pretty good, and the lads that have come on, and we've seen that in the last couple of seasons. In fact, certainly this season, when the reserves come on, they've been boxing really well, haven't they? They've been playing really well.
Yeah, so I see this as a huge opportunity for a bunch of young men who are in the wider training development squad. They're getting an opportunity to play NPC rugby. 4 debutants in the starting 15 and debutants off the bench as well. But it's great for those young men, and I would imagine that that's exactly what the coaches will be saying on the flight down and in the pre-meeting, that this is a big opportunity for them, isn't it, Tim? And they can make a name for themselves.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of those boys are going to go really, really well. A lot of them have either been in the squad on development contracts or have been chipping away playing club footy and Tassie Bees and stuff, and no doubt they're ready to play at that level and they'll give it a good crack. Yeah,
so that's what I'm thinking. They'll be like Jack in the Box. They've been just waiting for their opportunity, and they'll be really fizzing to get out down there. And Otago will certainly put up a fight, but there's no reason why the boys can't do the job, isn't there?
Yeah, and they've kept you in the squad to be the wise head.
Oh, yeah, you could say that, I guess. There's a couple lads like Russ is captain, Louis Chapman, which would be pretty wicked for him. Bruce is back. Tim O'Malley playing his Blazer game.
Yes, so, O'Malley's in the squad. Yeah.
There's plenty of experience there as well as those young boys on debut.
Yeah. No,
And obviously he likes the physical stuff. He likes getting beaten up and thrown around and throwing people around.
beat them up.
Beat them up. He can take it. So and then we've got Auckland 2nd of October. So now remind me, is that Tuesday or Wednesday night?
Wednesday night, 7:05 p.m. I would guarantee there'll be no chat about Auckland in this week from now. Probably they did in the beginning of the week, because obviously they made a plan to rest some players. And look, let me just say, I do not blame the selectors at all for doing what we're doing right now.
I reckon. Yeah,
it is. I don't know if any other province has had to deal with Storm Week and defending the Ranfurly Shield
with Auckland coming down.
With Auckland and Taranaki coming down.
That's right.
This is a game that I will watch with great interest. I really will, because in fact, you've got some Kahurangi boys that are making a debut, and I've got some Maris boys who are going to make a debut, and it's great for club rugby to see these young fellas get a crack.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk a little bit more about. We can't bring up the Auckland game, because we're going to get no comment. The comment's going to be one game at a time. We're not even looking at Auckland yet. But we must give it a plug. So it's 2nd of October. Remind me what night that was, Les?
Wednesday.
The Wednesday night. I must get that in my head because I'm going to be there. In theory, there should be a big turnout at Trafalgar Park. It's during the week.
Oh, look, yes, it's Nelson. It's going to be a fine night. It's a Ranfurly Shield Defence. If we don't have 10,000 people in the park, I'll be bitterly disappointed, even though it is a Wednesday night. And then, of course, a Sunday afternoon in Nelson, it should be bigger than that.
Yeah, well, that's right. Against Taranaki, who are certainly put up a good fight, one of our rivals as well. So it's going to be a huge week. But I reckon, Nelson, you got to turn out. That's for sure. It's going to be massive. You're at the Mako Rugby Roundup, and Tim, you're an Auckland Grammar School old boy, you could say. And so how did you do academically? Was it all about rugby, or did you actually study the books as well? Because most of the guys I know that went to Nelson College, it was pretty much about rugby.
Probably similar to me.
Was it?
Didn't love my academics, but yeah, definitely enjoyed my footy. I enjoyed the school as a whole. Made really, really good friends there, and wouldn't change it.
And so that experience with Auckland Grammer, so some players that we may recognise, some notable players that you played with.
When I was a junior watching, we had a pretty wicked team that won the comp, I think, when I was year 11. Guys like Akita, Enrico Ioane, Sean Stevenson. So yeah, pretty awesome team. And to watch them win it was really cool.
Yeah.
When I was in first 15, we actually Sione Havili was my captain, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, we didn't do too well, but really enjoyed it. And yeah, it's pretty cool to be playing with Sione now, years later. Yeah, it's really special actually.
So you two are quite different. You're very tall. He's quite a small man for a forward, but you must have. Was he as tenacious then as he is now? I mean, the guy's got no fear, has he?
No, not at all. Yeah, he was just like that all the way through school. Just really led from the front kind of guy, and yeah, it was awesome to watch and play alongside.
Now, I first heard your name. I'm working at Tasman Rugby, and someone mentions there's a kid coming down called Tim Sale, and he wants to be a pilot. He's going to Motueka Aerodrome to get a license. I think, and the connection was someone from Nelson Pine, who had mentioned that you guys are coming. So, in fact, you did, and you took up flying lessons at Motueka. So, what was the background to choosing to come here to do that?
Yeah, like I said, at school, I wasn't hugely into my academics just because I didn't really I was good at what I loved. So when I took up flying and wanted to do it, I actually did really well. But yeah, I decided that that's what I wanted to do when I left school.
Tell us about that. Where did you first get your taste for being a pilot, for flying?
I had a family friend that used to fly helicopters, and I thought that was pretty wicked. He had taken me up a couple of times, and I really enjoyed that. And then just looked into it, but the fixed wing stuff obviously offered a bit more job opportunity. So looked into that, went for some trial flights, and yeah, decided that was what I wanted to do. And then looked at which schools I could go to around the country. And yeah, it was kind of rugby that kind of made it here. I looked at the Tasman Mako and thought that would be a team that I'd want to play for. So kind of made that fit and moved down to Nelson.
Yeah, so the aerodrome plus the rugby.
Yeah, definitely.
So does Motueka have a good reputation as a flight school?
Yeah. So I actually thought it's called Nelson Aviation College, and I thought I was moving to Nelson. It was kind of only when I came down for an interview that I realised it was 45 minutes out of Nelson.
Yeah, in hop country.
Yeah,
that's right.
But we did part of our course at Nelson Airport. So most of it was out of Mott, but a little bit at Nelson Airport. And yeah, it was pretty crazy moving out to Mott when I was 18 years old. It was a lot different to being in the middle of Auckland City. That's for sure.
Yes, that's right.
But the good thing about that move was 45 minutes out from Nelson. There's a rugby club called Kahurangi. So you ended up being able to get a few games there.
Yeah, just really fortunate that Kahurangi was out there. Obviously didn't know, wasn't familiar with the clubs down here, and just because I was living out there and studying out there, Kahurangi was kind of who the union said, well, you might as well play out there. And yeah, kind of didn't look back. I've absolutely loved my footy out there, and really grateful that was the club that I ended up at.
So I suppose like the other side to that is that they have great fishing trips and competitions. So good bunch of guys.
Yeah. Bruiser Brendan Smith. I think his first year coaching was my first year playing. And yeah, just really enjoyed his company, became really close, became one of my best mates, and was taking me out fishing every second weekend. So was fortunate, and a lot of the boys out there have boats, and pretty wicked part of the world.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And are you now a qualified pilot?
Yeah, so it took me, I think, just under 2 years to get my commercial license. And enjoyed that. Absolutely loved my time flying. I actually went up flying for the first time in a long time yesterday.
Okay.
Just to kind of get recurrent and kind of look at getting back into it at some stage.
Yeah. So do you have a plan about what you will do with being a qualified pilot?
Yeah. So when I got qualified, obviously I was playing rugby as well, and really wanted to kind of turn that into a profession. And it just didn't fit in too well with being a pilot. Like, it's quite competitive for jobs, and obviously with rugby having to take time off to play NPC and stuff like that, it wasn't going to work out too well. So I just kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit, focused on my rugby. And yeah, the plan was to always, at some stage, get back into it and look for a job. But yeah, we'll just see what happens with my rugby at the moment. But yeah, just starting to tick over those hours again and get back into it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, how you were saying with, how you thrive when you find something you love to do with the academia. Because, I know some they're going for the helicopter license. I think they're doing their final exam soon, and just the amount of, he's a farm boy from Collingwood, and study probably wasn't his first choice, but the amount of theory you have to go through, and also quite difficult. And there's other stuff around weather, and he kept on having to get extra help because you got to calculate the weather somehow. So there's quite a lot involved in the academia side, isn't there, with flying?
Yeah, the way that the school out of Mott did it was we did all our theory papers first before the flying, which was a good way to do it, I think. Like, yeah, got stuck in, ticked the papers off, and I actually found the papers like I'd study hard for them and did pretty well. So I found the papers a little bit easier than the flying.
Oh, right.
The actual
Interesting,
flying
right.
and the
Is that, it's ironic, isn't it?
yeah, the exams and stuff were pretty difficult. Like the actual flying exams. But yeah, really enjoyable, to be fair. So that made me want to work hard and do well.
And so what does that lead on to? So you got your commercial pilot's license. So is that for stuff like top dressing or what have you? Or and then if you decide to do passenger, that's an extra step. Is that how it works? Or?
You can do passenger now. It's just
right.
you wouldn't get employed by Air New Zealand with the hours. I think I came out with 250 flying hours, and you wouldn't get employed by Air New Zealand with that little. So you'd look to find a smaller company. It could be doing stuff like top dressing, or it could be doing small passenger flights overseas or parachute dropping or something like that, just to build your hours up to somewhere around kind of 750 to 1,000 is what you'd be looking at trying to build up to get into New Zealand.
Well, here's a plan, Les. You should talk to Robert at Origin Air, and then with the charter planes, he could be flying the fans to the games or even the team.
Yeah, we flew out with Origin Air to Hamilton, and I was sitting next to Campbell, who's always talking about my flying and stuff like that, telling me that I should be up front flying.
Yeah, right. There you go. All right. So now, at one point you played 10 games for North Harbour. So that was over 2 seasons, 20 and 21. So how'd you end up at North Harbour?
I came back. We had the development trip to the States with Tasman.
Okay, you were on that.
Yeah, in early 2020. And I just came back and kind of got some feedback from the coaches around where I was, like how I was looking in terms of playing NPC, and they said pretty much there was just a lot of competition for spots. We had trained all through summer where we usually wouldn't be playing rugby. Like we had trained November, December, and then gone on the trip in January. So I kind of went home for a month after that to kind of take a break and catch up with my family and stuff. And then, yeah, just a family friend put me in contact with a guy from North Harbour, and got a ring from Kieran Kane, who was actually coaching up there.
Ah, right.
Oh,
KKK.
Yeah,
Props up, yeah.
And said, yeah, just come in if you'd like to be a part of the kind of build up to the season, and he said he'd play me in some preseason games and have a look. Didn't sign a contract or anything, but just a bit of a change in something like that.
Yeah.
I was just had an evening staying at KK's in Picton before the challenge from Wellington. And we were talking about the game when they visited Trafalgar Park. Were you playing in that game?
No, I don't think so. I was always pretty keen to play Tassie when I was up at North Harbour, but I don't think we came down here when I was playing for Harbour.
Okay, because Joe Wheeler had done a bit of a skit, a song, if you like, about KK. And KK got wind of it and used it as a bit of a motivational tool for the Harbour guys, and they nearly beat us. It took it until the last minute of that game to beat them. But he's an interesting mate, hey, KK.
Yeah, he was awesome. I really liked him. He gave me my opportunity up at Harbour, and he just rewarded hard work. Like if you got stuck in at trainings and stuff like that, he just said, yeah, you rip in and I'll give you an opportunity when the time's right. And he gave me a start, I think, round 3 of that season. And yeah, just really like kind of old school, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, some of the boys didn't, but if you didn't take it too personally when he sprayed you, happy days, I reckon.
Oh, that's a common theme with many players who have been coached by KK here at the Mako over the years. So, yeah, a lot of people not love him to bits, because he's a good human.
Yeah.
So last year you came back to Tasman and you got 3 games of the Tasman Mako, including scoring a try. So what happened among the Lucies that led to your selection? You're probably playing club footy for Kahurangi. There's some injuries and you ended up getting an opportunity.
Yeah, so in 2022, I was still contracted to North Harbour. I ripped my hamstring off the bone and missed the season. And I lost my contract. So I think in between the 22 and 23, a lot of the Lucy's down here started falling over. And I was still in contact with our club coach Brendan Smith, who's been involved a little bit, and was talking to Gray. So, but between them, Gray kind of said, if you come down, like we've had a couple dings, you might have an opportunity. I was pretty keen to come down and play more club footy for Kahurangi because I loved the club and had missed it. So I did that, and then I think Braden Stewart blew his knee out a month before the season. So yeah, a lot of injuries. And yeah, managed to get an opportunity and debut round 1, which was pretty cool.
And what did you notice about the difference between being in the Tasman setup and that at North Harbour? Were there any notable differences?
I think last year was a bit weird because I was out. I did my knee in round 3, had to have surgery, and I left and had to go home, have surgery and rehab up there. So I kind of only just got a taste of what Tasman was like. Whereas this year, like I've been in for a lot longer. I'm living with a couple of the boys, and I'm just absolutely loving it. Like it's we've got a pretty awesome culture here, and we're just having loads of fun, which is helping us win games, I reckon.
Yeah. So who are you flatting with?
I'm living with Tony Shalfoon and Mason Lund, 2 characters. So yeah,
Stoke boys.
Yeah, 2 Stoke boys. Which I give them a bit of stick about. I've got my my championship medal hanging in the lounge.
Good call.
Yeah. So no, it's cool.
Obviously, your chance this year came with injuries to Sione Havili Talitui at the beginning of the year against Canterbury. I think he hurt his hand. Max Hicks, of course, who's tall and rangy like yourself. That gave you the opportunity, right?
Yeah. Yeah, just
so you weren't a Mako contracted player, but a provincial union development contract player.
At early doors, I was nothing to at all. Like I was hoping to play in the preseason games, and then I'd only played 4 games of club this year because that was when I had come back from my knee injury. So I didn't really have a chance to play a whole bunch of club rugby, but I'd spoken to Gray early in the year, and he had said if you come down and show us that your knee's good to go,
right.
He said with loose forwards getting dinged up like they do, I'm sure you'll get an opportunity. And then yes, Sione broke his hand, and I think Huey messaged me that night and said we want you in for the week, and I was stoked there.
Yeah, and ended up staying.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You're a big lad. You're 6'3". You're over 100 kg. So I'm noticing that you really do enjoy the physical nature of the rugby game.
Yeah, I think probably just trying to make up for a little bit of a lack of talent with some physicality. To be fair, but yeah, I do enjoy it. I've always, one of my favorite things has been the breakdown, trying to turn the ball over, and then last year working with Piggy on the other side of the ball, trying to clean people out and pin them down and stuff like that has been really, really cool. And yeah, it's definitely something I enjoyed.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I really enjoyed is how good you are on both sides of the ball. You're a good ball carrier. You scored a try against Waikato, and then they kick off and you get a turnover. So it's that sort of work rate that you must be aspiring to continue.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, like hard work beats talent every time. So if you can work hard, keep getting up off the ground, it goes a long way. And I think with Tassie especially, like Mako work rate, they just drive it, and you see all the other boys doing it, working hard, and you don't want to let them down. You want to put your best foot forward and earn their respect, and it just kind of rolls on. Like, yeah, you see all the boys working so hard for each other, and that's what makes us successful.
Yeah, it's what Ethan Blackadder inspired the phrase Mako work rate.
Been talked about.
Chris and I interviewed Aaron Dundon and we were struck by how pragmatic and good he was at communicating. Have you enjoyed being coached by him, and is he bringing new stuff to your game?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, yeah, I came into the squad late, and he had only just come over, so didn't know him or anything. But yeah, really enjoy working with him. He's helped me a lot, especially with my line out stuff, which he's really good at, and he's also trying to continue that stuff that Piggy's done around the breakdown. So yeah, I think the more the boys have got to know him, kind of the relationship's just getting better and better, and yeah, kind of working really well as a unit now.
Yeah, I just thought it was an interesting comment with his experience in coaching, because he'd mainly done it in Europe, Leicester and France and what have you. And he had the experience where he went into a French club and then basically tried to just teach them how he got taught in Leicester. And he quickly realised that you just can't change everything straight away. And one of the things that I was impressed about is he said, he'll come into the squad, he'll look at what you do, and then he'll just slowly observe. And then he said it's just the small things, the small tweaks. And it's interesting to hear that the boys are starting to grow with confidence in him and enjoying what he's doing, as the season progresses. And I presume that's the case, that he's seen what you're doing and now he's just looking to improve. And he's slowly getting trust in you guys and having more of a stamp on the way you guys play. And that's obviously paying off, because look at the forward pack just playing fantastic at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Like, he isn't coming and trying to change everything. He's just getting little minor details and slowly improving everywhere he can, really. And yeah, the boys are really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And you're now an important line-out option. So
Yeah,
what he's
that's
done
right.
for you there is...
Yeah, for sure. Like, with Hixie being out and now Skip, Quinny, yeah, we're running out of options pretty quick, to be fair.
So you've figured in some epic battles this season. So you were saying you haven't had a chance to do much club rugby, and then you've come into a season where it's all on. You're winning games, and there's Ranfurly Shield matches, and geez, there's been a lot of highlights so far. What sticks out for you so far?
Yeah, that Shield game was unreal to win the Shield. Yeah, like, start of the season, I didn't know where my rugby was going or what I was going to do. Hadn't played much club and wasn't in the squad, so yeah, didn't know what I was doing with my rugby. And then kind of 3-4 weeks later, I'm playing in a Ranfurly Shield game and winning it in the province that I was born in.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. I was going to say, ironically, in Napier.
Yeah,
right.
I had a couple of my older brothers were saying that they were raised in Hawke's Bay, and they were saying that they weren't sure how I was going to feel supporting against them, especially in a Shield game. But one of my brothers said 2 minutes into the game, he's screaming for Tasman. So
that's
awesome.
Yeah,
brotherly love.
yeah.
So you've mentioned your flatties. So they're obviously, you're obviously quite close to them. But who do you tend to hang around with in the team?
Yeah, the flatties are both good lads. Me, Jack Gray, and Louis Chapman played the last few rounds of club together out at the Rangi and had a lot of fun there. So that's kind of continued into the Tassie season. And then, yeah, a lot of the boys are out playing golf or cards, like Coxie and Will Butler, Honey Lee. Yeah, all kind of. Honey's taught me a couple of new card games, which has been cool. And yeah, I think the boys, it's wicked. Like, we just, whoever's free, we just put a message in, and boys, if they're keen, they come along, and if they're not, they don't. But there's no pressure or anything, and yeah, we just all enjoy each other's company.
So are you part of the golfing competition as well?
Yeah, I think there's about 15 to 20 lads in a golf.
It's growing.
And where are you on the ladder at the moment?
Oh, very low, to be fair. Yeah, but
you're not
a hacker.
You're not challenging Coxie at this point.
Nah, I don't. No. Coxie's in a league of his own, to be fair. I think Maka's pretty sharp. Butts can go good.
Oh.
And then there's a few of us that just kind of hack it a bit
and have fun.
Yeah, enjoy it. It's pretty. Yeah, you get a lot of blue sky days in Nelson, so the boys are pretty keen to go and have a whack.
So did you mention Johnny Lee has taught you some new
Yeah.
So he's an interesting character. He's New Zealand under-20s captain, wasn't he, this year in
I think
South Africa? So would have played some decent footy over there, but he's now getting more game time. He made his debut, and I think this is his second or third selection. So good. Is he a good young man?
Yeah. No, he's awesome. He's obviously only met him not that long ago, but he's all about just putting his hand up to do stuff and get involved in the culture, and then on the field and around training, he just wants to learn. He's a young fella that just gets around all the boys, trying to learn as much as he can, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, so one of the keys is to make sure he falls in love with our region and our team, so he doesn't go back and play for Canterbury.
Yeah, I reckon he said no turning back. Like, he had the choice between the two, and he's pretty happy that he's chosen Tasman.
Nice. Especially on the ladder at the moment.
Yeah, that's right.
That's outstanding. Look, we've talked about Otago and the changes, right? And there are a number. I can't be specific because I'll forget some names, but from Kahurangi, Josh Tahira is going to get a run at hooker, and that's great reward for a very, very good clubman. So, I'm going to wish you well, but there's one player that we should talk about, and that is Tim O'Malley. So Bruce has been a real good man around the Mako environment, went overseas, played a bit of rugby last year, I think about 3 games, and retired with 49 games for the Makos. So he's been given a phone call to come in and play at number 12 against Otago. You would have played with him last year. You know what he's like. How proud are you of him getting his Mako blazer?
Yeah, absolutely stoked. Like, he's probably the epitome of a Mako man. The boys absolutely love him. You wouldn't find anyone that has a bad word to say about him. There were a few messages in from a couple of the All Blacks boys and lads overseas, Mako legends that were just wishing him best, and absolutely stoked that he can come in and play his 50. It'll be bloody awesome to watch him run out.
I think so too, and well deserved.
And we hear he's the life of the party, isn't he? His name keeps coming up, and he's the one that brings it all together.
Yeah, and just in a delightful way. Right. He's just entertaining, Good club man.
Yeah.
Good team man.
Yeah, no, he's class around the group, eh? He's everyone absolutely loves him.
And my last question for you, because I think your season has been very good. You're the glue in this team at the moment in that 6th position. So do you have aspirations to play Super Rugby?
Like I said, when the squad was named and stuff, I didn't know where my rugby career was going. But yeah, just kind of focusing on this season. I'm really, really enjoying it. Really grateful to get opportunities. And then, when you're playing and starting and playing for a team that's unbeaten and more or less at the top of the table, hopefully opportunities will come. I don't know what they'll look like, but I'm just really enjoying it at the moment.
That's all you can do, really, isn't it? You mentioned you're going to mention Sam Martinga, is that right? Because he's got 50 games coming up as well.
He does. He's sitting on 48. So Sam's been rested to play against Otago, but you can bet your bottom dollar he'll be playing against Auckland and Taranaki. So he's another young man who will bring up his 50th game and earn his Mako blazer. So Sam will be looking forward to that. But first of all, let's get Otago out the way. Let's get a win against Otago with this very young and youthful squad.
Yeah, but I've got full confidence. I think they'll go fizzing. I think they'll take their opportunity. And look, Tim, it's been fantastic to have you in. Great to hear about your background. It was interesting to hear about your father coaching Auckland cricket and that cricket pedigree. So, summer's coming up. You never know. Nelson might be knocking on your door. You don't think so? Might be going flying instead.
Yeah.
And congratulations on your season, because I concur with Les. You've had a fantastic season so far, and like you say, it's just hard work, and that's starting to show. You've been given your opportunity, and you're taking those opportunities, and you're doing well at the breakdown. You're winning the ball, and you're scoring tries. So I mean, what more can you ask for? So well done to you, mate. Congratulations, and good luck against Otago, and good luck for the rest of the week. We're not going to talk about too much, one game at a time. But good luck down there against Otago with the young side.
Yeah, thank you. Like I say, we're going down to win, so get this job done, and then look at the Wednesday game.
See how we go. Thanks very much for coming in. Thank you, Les. Big week. Geez, it's going to be a big week, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll look forward to watching the lads run around, on Saturday, and then the test.
Yeah.
So lots to look forward to.
Yeah, that's right. And we have to give a shout out to the Nelson Rugby public and, the others. It's going to be a huge week during the weekend. The thing that gives you an extra player on the field is the hometown crowd, isn't it? So make sure you get down to Trafalgar Park and pack it out for both games.
Yeah, so you can buy tickets online too, by the way, guys. Mako.flickit.co.nz.
Yeah.
So get in quick, because I think it'll be a full house.
Yep. Fantastic. All right. Thanks very much for that. That's it for another edition. My thanks to Tim Sale and, of course, Leslie Edwards. You can catch this and other podcasts on talknelson.co.nz or on Spotify. Just look for MBS Talk Nelson, and on our social media channels, Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
The Mako Rugby Roundup. What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. NBS Talk Nelson.